Well, I don't know why my audio's screwed up there with the theme song till the very end. I don't know why it did that. I'm really sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I was able to fix it, but I didn't know it wasn't working until someone said no bop, and I was like, what? And I looked at the audio slider, and it wasn't doing it. I had to reselect the audio source, so I'm sorry, guys. But I cannot replay the song for you guys to listen to because today's stream is on a strict, tight time schedule. Later today, I'm going to be going to the range. I want to do a little bit more practice shooting with my new gun. You know, it's fun. I enjoy it. I love marksmanship. It's a good time. And I like going to outdoor ones that are just kind of on public land. And they shut the gates to those at 5 p.m. So, you know, I kind of have to leave the house by noon. So I'm going live at 10 a.m., streaming for 2 hours, and I'll be ending stream in 2 hours at 12 p.m. PST. And then I'll just be heading straight out the door to the range. Hey, Hakon, what's up? So yes, today's stream is going to be a lot more condensed, a lot less stun locking, hopefully, and just kind of joking around and reading donos. Because today's stream is going to be primarily focused on segments. And just getting those topics covered before I have to finish stream and leave. Oh, I did play a little bit of CS2. I was playing CS2. You jump scared me? I'm sorry. I did play a little bit of CS2. I played one competitive match with my friends, and it was pretty fun. It's cool. I don't know if I want to get into CS again, but it is pretty fun. It is pretty fun when you're playing with like a group of 4 friends. And you? It's pretty good. No hightail stun lock today, Hakon. Well, I do hope you're all having a good one. I lost like 20 USD on cases today. Good God, why are you buying cases? You know that if you just like play the game, you get cases for free, right? And then you can sell the cases on like the marketplace to get money in your Steam wallet, and then you use that money to buy keys. And then you literally free to play opening cases. Like, it's not a lot, you know, you gotta grind for a bit in order to do it, but if you play, like, casual games for practice, like, what I always did was ran casual game lobbies, like the mini-game lobbies, like gun game, where you have to, like, rank up each gun type, or just a straight-up deathmatch. I would just play those over and over and over again to hone my, like, spray control in the game, and every other, like, match, I would get a case. I've got dozens of cases in my inventory. I've been too lazy to sell them. Because each time I sell them, it's only like 10, 20 cents. And like, if I wanted to open cases that badly, it'd be less work to just spend $5 to buy like 10 keys. Oh, you only get 1 case a week now? Also sell those cases. They're 1 USD each right now. Okay, we'll keep that in mind, I suppose. Hey, Pillow, what's up? Glad to see you here. Now, because I have to go to the range today, they still haven't answered what caused the nuclear war in Adventure Time. That's true. That is true. Oh god, I gotta sneeze. Hold on. Ugh. Alright. Feel better now. Cool. Yeah, they still haven't answered that. I don't think Fiona and Cake is the end. Like, a lot of people on the Adventure Time subreddit are reeing because they think this is the end of Adventure Time. They would have said if it was the end. Like, Adam Muto, or one of the big, like, people behind the show, or the marketing, would have announced it as the end. I think we're gonna get a Shermie and Beth series. I don't think so, and I don't want that. I think Shermie and Beth work best how they are in, Come Along With Me, and in Fiona and Cake, where they're brief, but their presence is... It serves the story, it's brief, and they're a side character type thing. I thought it was pretty cool that Simon got beamed into Shermie's head, and that we had that, like, stint. That was pretty cool, and it was a creative way for Betty to communicate the message with Simon. I liked that a lot, and I thought it was really cool, but I don't... There's so many other loose ends they purposefully left untied. There's clearly going to be more stuff in the future. I don't know if it'll be more Fiona and Cake, but they're going to do another spin-off show on HBO Max. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence that suggests the Great Mushroom War was Y2K. Yeah, you're completely right about that. Simon, when he is acting as a living exhibit, refers to himself as a 20th century man, not a 21st century man, so pre-2000. And on top of that, we see instances of technology that at the earliest only existed in the 90s. Like the headset and like little flip phone MP3 player thing Betty's using in that one scene, the just general the technology and the culture and the way that the characters are dressing, it really does seem more 90s. So I think it was probably Y2K that was the Great Mushroom War. That's crazy, Emo Anon. 9/11 never happened in Adventure Time? Super 9/11 did, though. By the way, if you're watching right now, and you want to support the stream, you can actually do so in a variety of ways. For starters, you can donate, subscribe, or gift a sub to me on my website. You can super chat to me on YouTube, or you can, for completely free, just drop a like on YouTube as well. That thumbs up button forces YouTube to send my stream out to more of my subscribers, so consider hitting that button. My nose is all stuffy all of a sudden. Probably because I just sneezed. That's crazy, you were born in 2002. I was 3 in 2000, for most of 2002. That's what I like to hear, BDFS Minotaur. The sooner you guys drop the likes, like even when I haven't gone live yet, the better. That is wild, a pillow. That is fucking crazy. I remember 2005. That's the crazy thing. Like, I literally can remember the year 2005 and what I was doing. Not well, but I got some memories from then. That's crazy. Let me get the first segment prepped, okay?
Goodbye, Sam.
Alright, I got the links ready. No spoilerinos for you. Pause that. There we go. Okay. This segment's going to be an interesting one, guys. We're going to be talking about the internet's predilection towards misogyny. Hehehehe. We love internet misogyny. Okay. Hey, Periwinkle43, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I really appreciate that. Didn't say anything, but thank you for the tip. Let me update the dono goal really fast. Remember, guys, no matter how small, any contribution does add to the pile, and it helps a lot in the end. All right. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1... Action. Okay, everybody. We're going to be going over a video that has gone pretty viral on Reddit. This is 12.6 thousand upvotes, but has since been removed by the moderators of the subreddit it was posted on, at least in this case, r/there was an attempt. And this post has since been removed due to the context that came out following this video going viral and the overwhelmingly misguided reaction the internet had to it. Now, I don't want to give too many spoilers to the big surprise that's going to come towards the end of this segment, but I'm going to give you guys a little background. Since, like, 2011, I would say, but really it started to blow up during the Gamergate era, there has been a trend of internet videos, mostly popular with young, misogynistic men, centered around catching women on camera, threatening to lie to the police about a guy that they're fighting with, like raping them or assaulting them. Ugh, my nose is so itchy today. It became a really big trend. Like, oh my god, look how common it is for these women to do this. These ones have been caught on video, but imagine how many of them are doing it without being caught. How many men are rotting in prison because a woman didn't like their attitude or whatever, right? These videos were very prevalent back then. And while they're not as popular now, though trust me, they're around, I feel like the cultural impact of that trend of content has left a permanent scar on a lot of, like, internet users, making them constantly afraid that any given accusation of abuse or rape or sexual assault could just be some manipulative, evil woman's attempt to destroy a man's life. Now, does that happen? Yes. However, I don't think it happens as often as people feel like it does. And you may be able to think of tons of examples where you think it happened, but let's take a look at this video that went viral. It's been dubbed the Wi-Fi Girl video. And I want you guys to make your own opinion. If you already know the background behind this video, please do not spoil it and say anything in chat. But I want you to watch this video and to make your own opinion on this girl, the guy in the video, and their argument. I will let you guys make your own opinion, and then we'll move on to the second part of this video. Let's watch.
I'm telling you now. All right, so I'm trying to move, please.
It wasn't bedtime, and I was
trying to leave, please.
Sleeping in the bed with me.
I'm trying.
I didn't say that. What's the Wi-Fi password? What's the Wi-Fi password, Joe? What's the Wi-Fi password? What's the Wi-Fi password? You really want me to call the cops for this? For fucking
Go for it.
Wi-Fi?
Go for it. What are they gonna do? They're gonna laugh at
You're an
you.
abusive narcissist.
I'm not doing anything.
Raped me.
I haven't done anything.
Yep, you've done everything.
I haven't done anything.
You've touched my kids too.
I haven't done anything.
Yep.
Oh wow. Please say that. Please say that.
What? You've probably touched my kids, and I need to protect them, and that's why we're getting out.
Perfect. I'm glad you think that because you want to protect them because you're the mom life, right? You're the mama bear, right?
I'm the mom.
So then why are you still here if I'm such a threat?
Leaving. That's why I don't.
Oh, in 23 days. If anybody touched my children, I'm pretty sure they'd either be dead or fucking.
So do you want to die?
Yeah, good. And that's right there. Good.
Okay.
Good.
So Joseph.
So exactly, you're such a contradicting
What's
lying
the
bitch.
Wi-Fi password?
It's funny. Thank you.
You legit agreed to not sleep in the bed as
I did.
long as I didn't fight with you, which is okay. I didn't have anything for you to fight about at all. Like I was fucking.
No, that's the thing. That we agreed. No fighting. I sleep no bed. There's no fucking caveat to that.
This is not fake.
Right. Okay. But
Cool.
now you.
Oh,
Fucking
but now.
This is 100,000,000% confirmed real.
Oh, okay.
I wake up to fucking the Wi-Fi being off. No warning. Nothing. So I don't know why over this stupid shit that you want to end the peace that we have.
Sure.
And this is what you want to do with the fucking
What
life
piece?
of
I
everything.
have.
You get a divorce. You get a non-messy divorce,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
There you go.
Okay.
But apparently we're not doing that anymore, right? Is that
If you say
is
so.
an agreement that we're not doing the peace anymore? So I'm
If
gonna
you say so, you're the one that
gonna
you're the
call
only.
her.
We are the only one that's still fucking breaking your word.
I'm gonna call this Lisa Battles, family advocate person.
Go for it.
He did change the Wi-Fi
yeah,
password.
Military spousal support is not a state thing; it's a
I know.
actual thing.
It's a
so-
federal thing, and since you have more money than I do, I wouldn't bet you anything. And we haven't been married more than a year, so whatever you say.
That's funny because.
Go ahead, Samantha. Do your research. Threaten me however you want. Do what you have to. I don't have to hear it. Just if you want to do
the Wi-Fi password.
Do what you have to do.
All I want is the fucking Wi-Fi password.
Okay, that's fine.
So give me the fucking Wi-Fi.
So are you gonna leave me on? I'm about to get naked here. I don't feel fucking comfortable with you being
That's
here.
unfortunate, right? Because
So I will call the cops for fucking sexual harassment.
How? Seriously?
Yeah.
Let's play ball.
Okay.
So, as many of you could probably imagine, the overwhelming reaction from the internet is that this girl is crazy and is insane, and she's threatening to call the police and accuse her, I guess, ex-husband, I guess separated is what I imagine they are, to claim that he raped her and molested their children because he wouldn't give her the Wi-Fi password that he changed. Which, granted, is a dick move, but holy fuck, what a reaction, right? And I've seen some people in chat saying this person is clinically insane, like in YouTube chat, and many people in website chat probably got that same, that same vibe, right? This may remind some of you of a story that hit the news and was very, very big news a couple years ago. The Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. You see, when all that stuff first came out, I was leaning more on the side of there was probably a mutually toxic, mutually abusive relationship going on. But upon looking into it further, especially with the entire trial and all the evidence being out, well, not all of it, but much more of the evidence being out, more came out after the trial too, I realized very quickly that I am quite certain that Johnny Depp was the instigator, the one who started the abuse, and that the things that she was getting shit for were reactions to the abuse she was receiving, which is not a perfect way to behave, but I don't expect anybody to be a perfect abuse victim. So, that said, a good example of how our perspectives of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial were warped is the following. This one really sticks with me. Many of you have heard the pretty well verified claim that Amber Heard had taken a shit on Johnny Depp's bed. The testimony to this claim was a female police officer that had been called to the apartment or house or whatever that they were in at the time and claimed to have seen a human-sized shit on their bed. Here's the thing, though. And, obviously the people who hate Amber Heard, they run with this like it's absolute truth, right? Like, this is a verifiable source, this police officer. What she says is true, and we 100% believe uncritically that Amber Heard shit on Johnny Depp's bed. No, like, a shit the size that a human would take, not a dog-sized shit like she did claim in court that it was the dog's poop, but it was too big to be a Yorkie's poop, according to the police officer. So, with that said, the same police officer also reported that Amber Heard had a big bruise around her eye, and a cut on her lip too, I believe, and maybe one on her cheek as well when she came to the door. Very poorly attempted to be covered up with makeup. So, the same source has claimed the thing that people have ran with like it's gospel that is bad about Amber Heard, and yet they deny the same person's claim that makes Johnny Depp look bad. It is a very clear bias. Everybody wanted Johnny Depp to be in the right.
All right, so
Okay, so apparently clicking off of a Reddit video makes it autoplay again. That's good design. The internet has gotten so much better these days, hasn't it, chat? Yeah, like, it was a very clear twisting of the narrative that happened there. At least on the side of... I definitely expect a clear twisting of the narrative from Johnny Depp and his fucking ruthless demon of a lawyer. Oh my god. She could crush me, but also his lawyer, that what was her name? Camille... or something like that. I forget what her name was, but it was like, she was a really fucking good attorney. If you watched the, you could see she was ruthless. You can tell from the way that she was carrying herself and speaking, she is ruthless. That attorney that Johnny Depp hired. Of course he could hire a really good attorney. He's got a lot of money. And yeah, it was, I have no doubt that there was some twisting of the truth on the side of both legal teams. However, the pro Johnny Depp side of things just outright warped reality. Just outright warped reality in order to make Johnny Depp seem more innocent than he was. Saul Goodman, if he was a woman entirely unironically, Zan. Like, literally Kim Wexler, if she gave up all of her morals and didn't, like, reform herself. Like, if she went all the way down that rabbit hole. Like, that's literally who that lawyer was. Now, moving on. Here's how I want to relate it back to that viral video. Here's why this has things in common with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. Now, one thing I'll also mention in regards to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case is the blatantly dishonest framing. How many of you saw conservatives and pro-Johnny Depp people talking about the trial as if Johnny Depp loses, he'll go to jail or prison? How many of you guys saw these people talking about it, clearly showing they had no idea that Johnny Depp was suing her to win money for a defamation suit? He was not in any legal trouble. That was him retaliating against her, trying to win money. He only loses money from what he put into that attempt to sue her in that case. So, yeah, it really was just completely dishonestly warped by the pro Johnny Depp side of the internet. Just like this story was. If you had a negative opinion of the woman in the video we just watched, you're about to feel really guilty. So, I'm about to play a video, or I should say a segment, from a video by a YouTuber named The Dadvocate. Now, this lady has popped up a lot in my YouTube shorts, and I don't think she's like a red-pilled, just pearly things type, but I feel like she could dangerously fall down that path if, like, exposed to the wrong, like, deliberately misrepresented, like, content, I feel, you know? She basically does content about how, like, men get abused too, and men have issues too, and young boys need guidance and that kind of thing, and it's like... But she also says a lot of pretty base progressive stuff in pretty much everything I've watched of hers, so I don't think she's just, like, pandering to the red pill crowd to try to make money. She seems genuine. She does. And she's done actually good, like, sex education videos and videos on consent. I've watched those, and she does seem pretty... Like, the advice and the, like, things she says in regards to consent and whatnot are very good. Like, if that's what she's teaching young men, then good, you know? Anyway, she did do something wrong, though. She covered the Wi-Fi girl video and just absolutely dunked on the Wi-Fi girl in that video. Here's the thing, though. The guy in the video who is recording, Joe, was in the Coast Guard. And he was dishonorably discharged from the Coast Guard after 100% by the U.S. government verified texts leaked of him berating and abusing his wife verbally in text, as well as numerous times admitting to physically abusing her. And this had been going on and it is horrific, and it had been going on for years before that video was recorded. He dishonestly and purposefully edited that video and posted it online in order to make her look as insane as possible and to garner the support of the very obvious reaction the internet would have to the slightest implication that a woman would lie to the police about a man committing sexual assault. Yeah, he darvoed her. He literally darvoed her, but to the entire internet. Now, Dadvocate, of course, thankfully made a video correcting this and went over all of the screenshots. I actually couldn't find the screenshots myself. I imagine I could, but I also don't feel like reading them, so I'm going to let her read them instead, because I've seen what the screenshots say. They're horrific, and I don't even want to get clipped reading them, so let's let her do it.
Gray texts are from her ex, Joe.
So, massive content warning. Like, insane, massive content warnings, sexual assault, and domestic violence.
Oh, green texts are from Samantha, the Wi-Fi mom. Come make me nut in your mouth. You said I could refuse a BJ without any consequences. Sam, you said you'd do whatever. Did you lie? And you said I could tell you no and nothing would happen. Did you lie? No, I did not. Are you...
These were verified by the US government to be real screenshots. They are why he was dishonorably discharged from the Coast Guard, the guy in the video.
Are you going to come make me come or not? Okay, then I didn't lie either. I came down there the first time you told me to. Why does that sound like another threat? Did you make me come in your mouth? You just punched me in the gut and knocked the air out of me. No apology. I'm sorry if that makes it very hard to give you a BJ. You're drunk. You came down and put your mouth on my... and didn't finish. Cool, so I'll find it elsewhere. Wow, so you did lie. There is a consequence if I don't give you a BJ. So did you? I tried even after you hit me, and you continue to treat me like while I'm in your... Sorry if that makes it hard. I didn't hit you. You punched me in the gut and knocked the air out of me, and didn't apologize. Are you gonna come suck my... or not? Are you going to apologize for your wrong? It still hurts. Comes my... I wish you were still my friend. Like you said, I can treat you how I like.
You guys need to understand how capable abusers are of warping the narrative. That video gave everybody red flags about that woman. Everybody, when they first watched that video, came out of it thinking that woman was in the wrong. You guys are a little bit more perceptive, but lefties with a intuitive knowledge about domestic abuse are not the majority of the internet by any means. It is very easy for a popular, charismatic figure to lie to to large groups of people like this and manipulate the narrative. All they have to do is make themselves seem like the victim. That's what this guy did. It's what at least Johnny Depp's fan base did with Amber Heard. You can't possibly know all the details and everything that happened behind the scenes. You just can't. It always happens. The bully always plays the victim. That is true. I mean, you can literally go back to, like, getting bullied in school. How many of you guys got bullied for any period of time and then eventually were like, all right, and you hit them back hard, and they immediately started crying, went to the teacher, and you got in trouble. You never tattled. You never snitched because you're not a bitch, and they couldn't take one punch after they'd be, like, flicking or pinching you, and they go to the teacher and get you in trouble. And they go crying to the teacher. This happened to me, but like on a more extreme scale when I was in elementary school. There was a kid who was held back a couple grades, unless he was a bit bigger than everybody else in my first grade class. And I was at the YMCA, like, after-school lunchroom hosted thing. It was a daycare thing after school for, like, parents that had to work later to come pick up their kids after a couple hours after school ended. And this kid always bullied me every day. His name was Dakota. He would bully me every fucking day. Every day. Physically. And he was massive. He was way bigger than me. And he was bigger. My mom just said from the bathroom, he was bigger than the teacher. And that was true. Yes, he was literally bigger than the teacher. We were in first grade. He had been held back a couple. Now, he would physically assault me, and eventually got to the point where I did snitch. But when I did, he would start crying and acting as though he'd done nothing wrong, and the teacher always took favor with him. His parents had my teacher by the balls, and my teacher was a woman, so you can kind of understand, like, how crazy this kid's parents were, that you know, they had my female teacher by the balls. One day, we're in that little daycare thing in the lunchroom, and I had a pencil. Wasn't a super sharp one, thankfully. You'll find out why it's thankfully, because, He came up to me and he did that thing where you like grab the back of someone's head and push it down to the table or into a book or whatever they're doing when they're at a desk or a table. He did that to me, and I had a pencil in my hand. And Dakota was a little bit of a chubby guy. He had a bit of a protruding gut. And so I turned around and I stabbed him in the gut with the pencil. It didn't penetrate and cause blood to spill out or anything, but it created a pretty clear mark and purple spot. And when my mom gets dressed, I'll let her come in and tell you. She's getting ready for us to go to the range right now in the other room. Whenever she gets dressed and she's ready to go, I'll let her come in and tell you guys the rest of the story. Because that's when she had to come to the school and smooth everything over. But, they can't hear you. They can't hear you right now. You gotta get dressed and then come in towards the mic. They can't hear you right now. Okay, yeah. My mom's trying to tell the story uh from the hallway there, but I'm telling her that you guys can't hear her because I have NVIDIA whatever it's called where it like cuts out background audio. I just watched an episode of Monster where a serial killer stabbed himself in the head with a pencil. Mom reveal. You guys have seen my mom before, like several times. She's been on stream tons of times. I didn't smooth shit over, 10 out of 10. No, she ended up having to pull me out into another school, but that was smoothing shit over, okay? I didn't go to jail, you know? I was concerned sitting in the principal's office, like dripping that cold sweat. Like, you guys know when you get called to the principal's office and you just start sweating? And it's Florida, so all this, like, you have to walk through outdoor hallways that are under, like, covers. Walk through these hallways, and it's, like, hot out, so you start sweating. And because you're nervous, too, you're also sweating, but it's also hot because it's Florida, so you're sweating on top of that. And then you open up the door to the office to go sit and wait for the principal to call you in. And that ice-cold office AC hits you, and it all turns into cold sweats as you're just sitting there shivering for multiple reasons as you wait for the principal to call you in. But yeah, my mom straight up moved me to another school, and I don't know how I didn't get charges pressed against me. I think probably because I was so little. All right, were you guys able to hear her when she was at the, like, right around the corner? Because she might be able to just say it around the corner to tell you guys what happened. No, we couldn't. Yeah, kind of. No. We just heard I didn't smooth shit over. Okay, well, I'll wait for her to get dressed and then she can come in here and tell you guys. All right, Cherry, you can cut out the entire stun lock there whenever this goes up as a video. Let's resume.
You lied to me. You don't love me. This isn't love. I would be doing it, though I don't want to, because I love you. Okay, then you can leave whenever you want, but you don't love me back. Okay, bye. You don't even say otherwise. Is this love? Do you love me? Goodbye. Yes, I do. Then why did you do that? It hurts so bad still. Samantha, come get...
So that this is literally her telling him that she's still in physical pain from him punching her while they were having sex, and his response is to repeatedly say, come down here and suck my cock right now. That's his repeated response, and it gets worse. It gets worse.
Get on your knees and Mike. That was the hardest.
We're gonna read some of the comments on the Reddit video that went viral after we finish these screenshots, so you guys can get like a perspective on the backstory and then see what the internet's reaction was not knowing this backstory. And most of the people who found out about this and gave their thoughts will never know this backstory. They never will.
It's ever been. I'm so sad. I can't force you to apologize to me. In all caps, Samantha comes. Mike, is this what love is?
No.
Yes. Have I been thinking wrong about love my whole life? Now come do it. I'm broken. I don't know what this means. I'm assuming he's implying that he's been with more people than he's saying that he has. You said you've only been with 9. That is what life is. I don't want life anymore if this is it. Okay, 5 times. It hurts. This can't be it. Please tell me this isn't how it's always going to be. Okay, if giving your husband a BJ is life ending, peace emoji. It's my way or the highway. I'm not talking about the BJ. All my exes have given me BJs on command. But you said you've never punched them.
That's just rape? Yeah, this is literally just him being caught in 4K, admitting to rape, and, like, actively, like, doing it partially. Like, the setup to a rape is happening here. Like, just caught in 4K, verified by the U.S. Coast Guard investigating him for his dishonorable discharge. Like, these are not fake. These are not doctored. Like, their phones were searched and their data pulled from the phone company to verify the texts are real. Like, yeah, this is fully legit. Anyway, I'm not going to subject you guys to any more of that. However, what I am going to do is read a couple of the comments on the original Reddit video that went viral. The vast majority of the people who commented on this, of course, did not know, about the background to it. She looks like a Dr. Seuss character. Oh god, this comment made me laugh very loudly and woke my dog up. Take my upvote whilst I apologize to the dog. Take my upvote, hehe, Reddit. Honestly, before I turned on the sound, I could have sworn she was someone's teenage kid that was giving her parents attitude. Love the infantilization. Damn, I thought my last toxic relationship was bad. Seeing shit like this makes me glad I'm single. Some of the stuff you do and say when you fall out can be so petty and pathetic. I find it so hard to stay with people now because the second I see signs of this behavior, I'm off. So many stairs. I guess there were a lot of stairs. If she starts crying and calls the cops and maybe by coincidence bangs her head against the door, parentheses, he will get kicked out of his own house by the police within 20 minutes without judge or court. Happens so many times. 1.1 thousand upvotes. Then he'll spend 5 years in jail before he can go to trial and clear his name. Quote unquote, I'll tell them you raped me, you touched my kids. These fucking women are evil and there are millions of them out there. She should be jailed just for saying that. Nutter. Yeah. Yeah. Never stick your dick in crazy, even for free Wi-Fi. This kind of thing makes me so sad. How can people get to the point of being this petty and hateful with someone that they used to love? P.S. Does anyone have the Wi-Fi password? Did she wipe her ass with her shirt? Quote, you probably touched my kids. What's the Wi-Fi password? What a nut job. If I thought someone was touching my kids, they would be greatly injured. And I wouldn't be staying in the home, which he also pointed out. Just give her the fucking Wi-Fi password. This dude wants drama. That is actually not a bad interpretation of the video based on the info they had. Here's somebody correcting it, thankfully. Now once you scroll down far enough, you start to get the comments from like when the backstory came out and people correcting. This is typical narcissism, the subtle jabs, the provoking her and then filming her when she... Oh, here's a good comment. When she gets upset to make her look crazy, withholding a utility that she probably helped pay for and trying to paint her as crazy, then threatening to falsely accuse her of sexual assault and to call the police because you refuse to give her the password to a utility she pays for. Notice, by the way, he literally falsely threatens to call the police and claim sexual assault in the video at the end. Granted, she did it first, as far as you would know watching the video without the context, but then he does it at the end. All right, we'll finish it off with this last comment. Dudes, just try the gay thing. It's so much more relaxing. Many are saying this. But, like, guys, I hope you understand why this segment was so important. You understand, right? Like, that video did an amazing job at warping everyone's perspective of the victim. And when the actual backstory behind it was just downright gut-churning. My point is that I hope that people out there who have this tendency to over-fear the idea of women lying about rape or sexual assault in order to get them in some way, I hope you guys know that, like, it's not really a thing that happens. It's a thing that happens in the same way that, like, airliner plane crashes happen, you know? Like, they happen, and it's definitely awful that they do, but you're actually pretty fucking safe flying on a commercial airplane. Unless it's like Spirit or something, you know, you guys know. But, like, yeah, it's one of those things, right? Like, I guess it's okay to have the irrational fear as long as you control it, but if you allow that fear, in the case of airplanes, to prevent you from ever traveling outside of your home state and seeing the world, or you allow that fear, in the case of dating, to prevent you from having a happy, fulfilling relationship, and you're literally, that's the fear, like, come on. You're just hurting yourself. You are literally just hurting yourself. How do you guys like that segment? I know it was pretty awful subject matter, but I feel like I feel like I did well, and I feel like the point I made was made well, and a damn good point. I learned this whole story, and I knew I had to talk about it, because the warping of the narrative by abusers is just something I feel needs to be talked about. Important but depressing segment. Thanks, Sophie. You might not survive flying Frontier, but it won't crash. It won't be from a crash. Do you think you could raid into me after this? Sure. I'm going to the range after this. I think I might record a video. At the range, like my own gun safety video, because, like, it's insane. Like, I'm pretty sure 99% of accidents people have had with guns are because they didn't know that there was a round in the chamber still. Like, they dropped the mag, assumed it was now unloaded, and then dry fired it, and then they ended up shooting into their leg, or shooting into their friend, or shooting the floor, because they didn't know that once you've chambered a round, dropping the mag doesn't unload the gun. It's still got a round in the chamber, and you have to eject the round for it to be clear. And of course, you don't, dry fire the gun at a friend or at your body anyway, right? Even if you know beyond, you just know it's empty, right? Even then, you don't do that. Good segment. I feel bad for the woman who had to put up with that from this trashy dude. Yeah, he was pretty awful. Working in an airport, I will give you a list of airlines from best to fly, just find alternatives, means to travel. I like Alaska. Alaska is good. Yeah, it's a good one. I like it. All right. Well, that was a good topic. That was a good segment. Holy crap. Well, that was 44 minutes of the stream. Whew. We are going to have to zoom through the next couple topics now. Because I have to end stream at noon. In an hour and 15 minutes. Because I got to get out the door and head to the range. By the way, if you're watching right now and you want to support me, you can do so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, super chatting, or tipping on YouTube, or just simply hitting the like button if you want to support me for free. Those thumbs up over on YouTube actually force the website to push my content out to more people, so literally every single like counts. Please consider dropping one. It's a completely free way to support me, and you should honestly leave a like on the content of every creator that you watch regularly and enjoy. Anyway, y'all know what to do when I say action. 3, 2, 1, action. Well, guys, I've been getting a lot of requests to talk about this, and I've kind of been putting it off because I've been so busy, but it really is an important topic, and even if it's not news anymore, it's old news at this point, I do think it's important that I give my takes on it and that I do my part to spread the word about this demonic plan the Republicans have to as many people as possible. Also, it's very windy out and my curtains are getting like blown open and they're like flying in front of my camera and I can't make them not do that. So let me see if I can like pinch my curtains. Fuck. Yeah, it's way too windy. Oh, no, I just unplugged my fucking camera. Oh, no. Oh. I think that literally breaks the entire stream. Let me see. Okay, it doesn't. Alright. Oh, but it did break all my settings. Fuck. Oh, all my fucking camera settings are broken now. Oh, it turned everything on. There we go. Pog, okay. Yeah, so you guys are just gonna have to deal with like my curtains blowing in front of the camera, because the camera's literally an inch away from the curtains. Like, that's my fingers touching the curtains and the camera. Like, I can't move it. My desk is in a corner, and there's no other space for it to be. There's no moving it solution. So it's kind of a problem. I can do this though. Oh, that's not bad. Actually, that works too. Let me do this. Hold on. Let me adjust the camera quality. Gotta turn my gain down a bit, because I've got some actual natural lighting. There we go. Nice. Damn, that looks good. That is some good camera quality now with that natural lighting. Hot damn. That's how I actually look in real life right now with this lighting. Like, the camera's actually utilized to its full potential, it looks like. I feel like this is the best my camera has ever looked. Just got let a little bit of sunlight in. What? Nice. Cool. Xanderhall in real life? Okay, enough of that. All right, Cherry, cut out all of that stun locking. Let's start again. 3, 2, hi, Heavy Griddle. 1, action. All right, everybody. I've been getting a whole lot of recommendations from you guys and requests to talk about this particular topic, and I've been putting it off because I've been so busy lately, but it is really important, and I do feel I need to give my thoughts on it because, well, it's important shit, you know? I gotta be talking about this stuff. I gotta be warning you guys about the demonic plans the Republicans have to take over the country. The plan in question is called Project 2025. I've got the Wikipedia page for it here right now, and I think it does a good job of outlining everything that's relevant to this. So let's go over it, because I think a lot of this is going to scare the shit out of you. Let me also raise that. There we go. Let me just a little more. There we go. Cool. There we go. I think that looks good. Anyway, Project 2025 is a controversial plan authored by the Heritage Foundation. I hope you guys are familiar with the Heritage Foundation. They are a far-right think tank shit tons of money behind them. They're behind a whole bunch of the far-right propaganda that has dominated this country's media sphere. Literally demons. The Heritage Foundation is an activist American think tank based in Washington, D.C., founded in 1973. It took a leading role in the conservative movement in the 1980s during the presidency of Ronald Reagan, whose policies were taken from Heritage Foundation studies, including its mandate for leadership. The Heritage Foundation has had significant influence in the U.S. public policy making and has been ranked among the most influential public policy organizations in the United States. Its sister organization, Heritage Action, founded in 2010, is an influential activist force in conservative and Republican politics. Yeah, they're demons. They're pretty awful. So as you can imagine, they're kind of the money behind all of this. To reshape the U.S., we're going back to the Project 2025 page now. Project 2025 is a controversial plan authored by the Heritage Foundation to reshape the U.S. federal government in the event of a Republican victory in the 2024 United States presidential election. Established in 2022, the project seeks to recruit thousands to come to Washington, D.C. to replace existing employees to restructure the federal government as to further the agenda and policies of Donald Trump. The plan would perform a quick takeover of the entire U.S. federal government under a maximalist version of the unitary executive theory, a theory proposing the President of the United States has absolute power of the executive branch upon inauguration. The development of the plan is led by the Heritage Foundation, a conservative U.S. think tank. The plan includes widespread changes across the entire government, particularly in regards to economic policy and the role of the federal government and federal agencies. For lack of a better term, they plan for the sitting Republican president, if they win, to have absolute dictatorial power, pretty much. Like, they're just laying out their plan for a fascist takeover if a Republican wins in 2024. This is the plan the entire GOP is behind. Like, they're just outright saying, if we win in 2024, America is going to become fascist. Now, back in the day, I would have said there's no way this happens. American democracy is too liberal and too stable for anything like that to happen, but I do think after Jan 6th, particularly after the, COVID and, a lot of the rioting that's happened because of COVID and because of, police shootings and stuff, I do think it's reasonable to expect that you could see the Republicans attempt another January 6th at the very least. I feel like politics has gotten, Donald Trump's presidency, if I went back in time and told any, reasonable liberal what would happen because of Donald Trump's presidency in 2016, they'd call me a crazy, overreacting, triggered liberal. No one could imagine Donald Trump's presidency would be responsible for the deaths of millions of Americans so directly as with COVID, or any of the countless other things that he did. A lot of people could predict many of the things he did, but, he went further than expectations, I think, really allowed. After Trump, are you guys really that confident that America is immune to a fascist takeover? Especially when at this point the Republicans have outright explained their strategy for how they plan to do the fascist takeover once they have the presidency, which would grant them the power to execute this plan. It's just a fascist manifesto made by one of the most influential political think tanks in the entire country, and backed and being supported by and followed by the GOP, the Republican Party. Ella Menace, I would have said the same thing as you prior to Trump. Now, but obviously not pre-Trump me, because I was, a chuddy teenager. I would have said as well that it's a desperate wish list from idiots who don't know what they're doing before, but I don't think we've reached the end of history. I feel like a lot of Americans who are more liberal-minded have this tendency to assume that we've reached the end of American history. That is to say, all of the exciting shit has already happened. This is the norm. Where we are right now is the norm. This will be the norm in perpetuity. There is no way for us to backslide, and there is no reasonable scenario where we're going to have a massive jump forward in progress. It's going to be a slow, incremental thing, if anything, but for at least the time being, like a decade or so, what we are in right now is the norm. It is the it is our what's the term? The status quo. The fact is, though, that is an extremely simple-minded perspective of politics, very childish, and I realized around 19 years old, holy fuck, American democracy is nowhere near as stable and guaranteed to last as I childishly and naively thought it was growing up. There's a system of checks and balances, there are safeguards, and there is accountability. However, come on. Come on. Donald Trump, exactly, like what my mom just said, look what happened with the impeachment. Donald Trump got away with everything. Mom, I can't, mom, it's okay, got it, cool. Donald Trump's gotten away with pretty much everything up into this point. I have no doubt he's going to have some level of legal action taken against him for the, 4 or 5 cases he's dealing with right now, but I mean, up to this point, he's faced no consequences despite blatantly breaking the law and attempting to overturn the democracy of this country. If there is no functional consequences to attempting a fascist takeover, and the Republicans now know this, then they're just going to keep doing it till they win. Because the Democrats are not willing to just say, all right, well, the people who did the insurrection are literally traitors to the country. Let's execute them like we did with the, what was the name of that couple? The what? The what? The Rosenbergs, thank you, yeah. With the Rosenbergs. They were like found out to be Russian spies, or I don't even know if it was confirmed, but they were suspected of being Russian spies, and they were executed for treason. For being suspected of being Russian spies. They were executed for treason in the 80s. I believe. We did that, okay? Like, orphaned to their kids, exactly, yeah. We did that back then because we suspected they were communist spies. But Donald Trump literally leads a fascist insurrection on the capital of our country. Confederate flag flies on our nation's capital for the first time in history because some redneck in a goddamn buffalo pelt over his head brings it into the Capitol after smashing a window. It was 1953, my bad. Should have been soon. It should have been more recently. Should have been with the insurrectionists today. I don't know. Regardless, my point is, we used to be a real country. Anyway, the Heritage Foundation president Kevin Roberts established Project 2025 in 2022 to provide the 2024 Republican Party presidential nominee with a personnel and ideology framework after civil servants refused to support Trump during his attempt to institute a Muslim travel ban effort to install a new attorney general to assist him in attempting to overturn the 2020 election, and when he called for lethal force against George Floyd protesters. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. In April 2023, the Heritage Foundation published a 920-page blueprint written by hundreds of conservatives, most prominently former Trump administration officials. This report argued for the expansion of presidential powers, installation of conservatives into office within the executive branch via the unitary executive theory, and implementation of conservative policies. Project 2025 seeks to place the entire U.S. federal government under direct presidential control, eliminating the independence of the Department of Justice, Federal Communications Commission, Federal Trade Commission, and other agencies. The plan bases its presidential agenda on a maximalist version of the unitary executive theory, arguing that Article 2 of the United States Constitution vests executive power solely to the president. While Trump is not the first president to consider policies related to unitary executive theory, the idea has seen a resurgence in popularization within the Republican Party following the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Donald Trump, now current frontrunner of the 2024 Republican presidential nomination, has falsely stated in 2019 that Article 2 of the United States Constitution granted him the right to do whatever as president, a common claim made by supporters of unitary executive theory. A similar remark was echoed in 2018 when he claimed he could fire special counsel Robert Mueller. Yeah, so like he's literally just self-reported that he wants to have absolute power. Project 2025 establishes a personnel database shaped by the ideology of Donald Trump. Throughout his presidency, Trump was accused of removing individuals whom he considered disloyal regardless of their ideological conviction, such as former Attorney General William Barr. In the final year of Trump's presidency, White House Presidential Personnel Office employees James Bacon and John McEntee developed a questionnaire to test potential government employees on their commitment to Trumpism. Bacon and McEntee joined the project in May 2023. Project 2025 is aligned with Trump's plans to fire more government employees than allocated to the president using Schedule F, a job classification established by Trump in an executive order in July 2020. Although the classification was rescinded by Joe Biden in January 2021, Trump has previously stated that he intends to restore it. The Heritage Foundation plans on having 20,000 personnel in its database by the end of 2024. Russell Vought, a former Trump administration official, I don't know why, but I feel like the boys warned us about people with that name. A former Trump administration official and Project 2025 advisor stated that the project's goal of removing federal workers would be a wrecking ball for the administrative state. Climate policy. Project 2025 does not provide strategies for reducing greenhouse gas emissions responsible for climate change. Heritage Foundation's Energy and Climate Director, Diana Fushko-Roth, has suggested Americans should use more natural gas, a cleaner-burning fossil fuel. That doesn't exist. Project 2025's blueprint includes repealing the Inflation Reduction Act, a landmark law that offers a $370 billion to clean technology, shuttering the Loan Programs Office at the Department of Energy, eliminating climate change from the National Security Council agenda, and encouraging allied nations to use fossil fuels. Yeah, just on top of that, encouraging allied nations to use more fossil fuel. I like that. The blueprint supports Arctic drilling and declaring that the federal government has an obligation to develop vast oil and gas and coal resources. Notably, Project 2025 would reverse a 2009 finding from the Environmental Protection Agency that determined that carbon dioxide emissions are harmful to human health. They would literally reverse the EPA's statement on carbon dioxide emissions being harmful to human health. They have outright said if they take control and they gain executive control of the EPA, they will use that power to overturn the EPA's stated position on carbon dioxide emissions being unhealthy for human inhalation. They're literally going to force the EPA to say it's safe to breathe in car exhaust. And they've stated they're going to do this once they have the executive power over the EPA. They are literal super villains. Republicans cannot win in 2024. The Republicans cannot win in 2024. Notably, Project 2025 would force a reversal of the 2009 finding from the Environmental Protection Agency that determined that carbon dioxide emissions are harmful to human health, preventing the federal government from regulating greenhouse gas emissions. The climate section of the report was written by several authors, including Mandy Gunasekara, the former chief of staff of the EPA, who considers herself principal to the United States withdrawal from the 2015 Paris Agreement. The role of the Trump appointee who prevented the climate agreement. The role of the Department of Energy was drafted by Bernard McName. There was no "the" there. I don't know why I read that. Okay. who has advised several fossil fuel companies. 4 of the top authors of the report have publicly engaged in climate change denial. You guys will like this bit. LGBTQ plus rights and pornography. President Kevin Roberts, in a section of Project 2025's manifesto, claims that under the Biden administration, children suffer the toxic normalization of transgenderism with drag queens and pornography invading their school libraries. Pornography manifested today in the omnipresent propagation of transgender ideology and sexualization of children is not a political Gordian knot inextricably binding up disparate claims about free speech, property rights, sexual liberation, and child welfare. It has no claim to First Amendment protection. So he claims that pornography and the normalization of transgenderism have no claim to First Amendment protection. That is what they outright say in their Project 2025, that being transgender and porn do not fall under protection of the First Amendment. And this is just them stating what will happen if Trump wins in 2024 and they gain executive control. Roberts goes on to claim that those who produce and distribute pornography and LGBTQ+ content, quote, are child predators and misogynistic exploiters of women and should face jail time. This includes educators and librarians being registered as sex offenders and the closing down of telecommunication and technology firms that facilitate its spread, quote unquote. When discussing the United States Department of Health and Human Services, Roger Severino, the Heritage Foundation's vice president on domestic policy, calls for the rescinding of regulations prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, transgender status, sex characteristics, etc. So that's race as well. So, yeah. That is the Wikipedia page on it. It is literally just, objectively, the Republican Party's multi-billion-dollar plan to implement fascism and destroy the world if Trump wins in 2024. Or if a Republican wins in 2024, but probably, Trump because he's the front runner. So, yeah. They're just outright saying it's the end of the world if Trump wins. Like, the Republicans are saying it. Like, they will literally my favorite part is that they will, once they have control of the EPA, like the president has control of the EPA and they've got, like, Trump in office, that they will force the EPA's public position on the inhalation of carbon dioxide from cars and the burning of greenhouse gases. They will overturn the EPA's position on that being dangerous to saying it's safe. Just absolutely amazing. I mean, Republicans have been doing this for a long time. Like, they did it with leaded gasoline, of course. But, like, the fact that this is just so mask off, I don't know. I think it's important that I covered this, because you guys need to know how important this next election is. You need to vote blue, no matter the fuck who. What do you guys think of that segment? I feel like it came out really good. We'll get to that bridge when we come to it, Alexa 23. One election at a time. Heavy Gretel, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It really does help out a lot. You're so awesome. Thank you. Let me update the dono goal really fast. $10 Adinos. But what about forced to vote? Okay. This has been a fun stream so far, guys. Let's get to some more immediate news. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. You guys know how, like, in America, our government just, like, shuts down sometimes? Like we just do government shutdowns? and that just happens. Like the post office usually shuts down, and like a bunch of other government services they just don't anymore for like a couple weeks maybe. Sometimes it's just a few days. When I heard about a government shutdown for the first time, it was when I was like 9, maybe 8 years old. I was on the way to school. I was in elementary school. My mom was driving me to school. We were in the car listening to the radio, and the news starts talking about the government shutting down. And my mom's just sitting there driving like, ugh. You know, just like a scoff sigh is her reaction. And I'm sitting there like, what? Like, I'm like, what? The government shutting down? Like, I'm literally like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, what? What? Excuse me? Why are you so casual about this? What the fuck? You know, and obviously, I shortly had it explained to me what a government shutdown was. All right, I had it explained to me. And I was like, okay, well, that's pretty bad, but it's like, I guess it's not like literally the America's over, you know? Because I was just under the assumption America was over, right? Like, that's what a kid assumes when they hear the government has shut down for the first time, when the government has shut down, you know? Anyway, it turns out that just kind of happens. And it's happened a few other times since then, so it's kind of like nothing too crazy new or anything like that. But it's certainly not a good thing. And guess what? We're barreling towards another government shutdown, guys. Just in, the House fails to advance last-ditch stopgap bill as government barrels towards shutdown. Congress remained on track Friday morning to trigger a government shutdown this weekend as House Speaker Kevin McCarthy suffered another high-profile defeat when the House failed to advance a last-ditch stopgap bill to extend government funding beyond Saturday. 21 Republicans crossed over to vote with all the Democrats against the bill for a vote of 198 to 232. The measure, a 30-day extension that would slash funding from current levels, also includes strict GOP-led border policies. So, to basically give you an idea of what's happening here, at least my understanding of it, correct me if I'm wrong, the way that getting bills passed works is very exploitable on the part of a dishonest party involved in the House. The Republicans of the House have a penchant for bundling important, necessary provisions with their policies, hoping that no one reads the fine print, and then once they do read the fine print, just kind of saying, well, if you want the government to continue being funded, then you gotta pass our border policies, or you gotta pass our LGBT policy, or you gotta pass our taxation policy, or you gotta pass our gun policy. Whatever thing they glue to this, like, necessary needs to get passed bill. And when that happens, they basically force a government shutdown, because obviously the Democrats are gonna vote for it, because they'd basically just be voting for a Republican policy because the Republicans have forced them, held the government hostage in order to force it through. It is a demonic move and a perfect example of why I completely believe that their plan, Project 2025, is completely plausible to, like, actually follow through if Trump wins in 2025 or 2024. Because, they've been willing to do this for a long time. They've done January 6th. Trump has been responsible for the death of millions of Americans because of COVID. Like, don't think that the things they laid out in their Project 2025 plan, don't think they're not possible. Don't think the Republicans are incapable of that, or they'd change their mind or go back on it or feel guilty. Oh my God. Don't think that you can just, like, sit back and assume that shit is impossible. How the shutdown could impact national security. The White House has warned of shutdown impacts to national security, including the 1.3 million active duty troops who would not get paid during a shutdown. By the way, when the Republicans do this, they're actively preventing our, like, armed forces from being paid. And yet they're the ones who weaponize the whole, like, yeah, we love the military, we love our troops, we love guns and camo and tactical gear and all that shit. And meanwhile, they're the ones that are preventing, wounded veterans from getting, like, health care, veterans with PTSD from getting access to mental health care, like the vast majority of homeless people in the United States that are adults are veterans. Like they actively just don't give a fuck. Did Zan already go over Project 2025 this stream? Yes, I did, Yukovic. I did it earlier. It's all virtue signaling. Like, military, people who've served in our armed forces are the Republicans' version of, like, liberals, like cringy white liberals who virtue signal how not racist they are. When they actually are racist, though, but they don't want to actually, like, acknowledge it so that they can, like, combat it and, like, deal with it because they're so afraid of acknowledging it, right? Like, that's basically, like, the Republican version of that, is them on the surface pretending like they give a fuck about our troops, but everything they advocate for policy-wise outside of gun shit hurts our armed forces. Extreme House Republicans are playing partisan games with people's lives and marching our country towards a government shutdown that would have damaging impacts across the country, including undermining our national security and forcing service members across the country and around the world to work without pay, the White House said in a fact sheet shared with reporters. Service members who are essential federal employees would receive their paychecks after the conclusion of the shutdown. The White House also warns that the furlough of civilian Defense Department colleagues would leave the U.S. vulnerable. Hundreds of thousands of their civilian colleagues in the Department of Defense would also be furloughed, affecting the ways in which the department manages its affairs globally, including the vital task of recruiting new members of the military. All of this would prove disruptive to our national security, the White House said. Ooh, if this harms the military, this will play into the Republicans' recent narrative that the U.S. military is struggling. They're trying to claim the U.S. military is literally struggling to get recruits and that, like, we're falling apart and we're going to have to do a draft. They're really desperate to try to create this false narrative that, like, under Biden, the military has suffered so much that a draft is imminent. Like, they're so desperate to try to get Americans afraid that a Democrat presidency means a draft. That's their strategy right now, by the way. That and attempting to make it so that you have to be 25 years or older to vote. In an effort to bring the messaging home, the White House also offered a breakdown of the active duty troops in each state, previewing the local economic impacts for thousands of Americans working without pay. While 171,700 troops live abroad, a shutdown would impact 163,000 troops in California, 129,400 in Virginia, 114,200 troops living in Texas, and 95,900 troops living in North Carolina. In 3 recent shutdowns that lasted at least 2 weeks, members of the military were paid, either because Congress had passed the necessary appropriation or because lawmakers approved legislation guaranteeing service members pay, said Andrew Lautz, senior policy analyst at the Bipartisan Policy Center. Whew. Well, that is the current up-to-date news. Everything else that I could read you guys is out of date now. Like, the next article is, the House has now begun voting on final passage of the GOP's short-term funding bill. The same bill which just 8 minutes ago failed. So, yeah. It's looking like this government shutdown's gonna happen. I don't know if it'll happen while I'm live, but it looks like it's going to happen today. Probably before 5 p.m., I would guess. So get excited for that, guys. Yay! New government shutdown. Woo! I swear to God, were these always so common? I feel like I've lived through 4 of them, maybe 5. Were these as common prior to, like, 2000? Or was this, like, mostly a post-9/11 thing? Can any boomers in chat confirm? It's become way more common now? This means TSA will be crippled? Good. Those motherfuckers, like, took a hacksaw to my, like, Pelican case when I was flying from Tampa to Seattle. I had, when you fly with guns, you have to put them into a hard case and, like, padlock them and, like, check them in as checked luggage and put them through TSA and, like, security and everything, and they have to be declared and all that. And, even then, TSA wants to get into your case and fuck with your stuff. So they will do anything they can to get inside. They're not supposed to open them. They still try. It's literally illegal for them to open your gun case without you present and touch your gun without you present. And yet they still try because there's giant hacking marks from like a saw and from like a little axe on the back of my case on the hinges and around the spots like where the padlocks are. And it's very common. It's very, very common for TSA to try and get into your gun case. They do it all the fucking time. They want to rifle through your shit. They're not allowed to, but it's on you to keep them from doing it. And if they do get into your shit, you have to file a claim with your airline, and your airline like a year later will pay you back. The airlines hate TSA. The airlines fucking hate TSA. Like the airlines have to spend millions of dollars a year reimbursing their customers for property destroyed by TSA. They destroyed my my like 14-year-old suitcase. When I was 8 years old, I got a suitcase for a vacation I took to New York City with my mom. It was the first time I ever flew. It's lasted me 14 years. I've taken it on countless trips. They fucking finally broke it. I received it, took it off the conveyor belt because it was checked luggage, pulled the little handle up. It just ripped straight out. 14 years of use, taking really good care of it, and it fucking broke because TSA just... the damn thing. Who are they hiring for TSA? The saddest people you can possibly imagine. Anyway, yeah, no, listen. Fuck TSA, to be completely fair. Like, they also, on top of that, I have seen TSA pat down countless women just because they wanted to grope a woman. Also, they patted down... They patted me down for no reason on my way to Florida when I went through the Seattle airport. I went through it. I didn't have anything on me. I passed through the metal detector, and they said, hold on a second, and they patted down just my knees. There's nothing there. I was wearing jeans and nothing else. It was just denim and then my knees. I don't have any metal implants in my knees or anything like that, but they felt the need to pat down my knees. I don't know why. Like, and you have to accept it. You have to accept these people touching you, regardless of where they want to touch you, or you can't go through TSA. And holy fuck, TSA has a 95% failure rate. Dude. Wait. Oh, that's funny. Last time my mom went through TSA, the TSA lady said, I have to pat you down, and my mom responded, go ahead, I like it. And the lady decided not to pat her down. That's actually really funny. That's Giga Chad right there. So basically, the thing that happened, fuck, what was I gonna say? That funny-ass story distracted me. Oh yeah, so I go to the range a lot, right? And I wear my boots to the range that have these deep, like, wide treads for not slipping on ice or on, like, wet rocks and stuff. Like, they're hardcore boots. But when you walk around at the range, you're walking on a lot of spent shell casings. One got caught in the tread of my boots. One 9mm shell. One just like this. Just a shell just like this. Caught in my boot. In the tread. I wore those shoes. I didn't wear those shoes into the airport. I wore my slippers, because you have to take your shoes off for TSA, and I always wear, like, easy to take off and put on shoes for that. So, I kept my boots in the bag. Put them on the conveyor belt. They went through the fucking thing, through the x-ray machine, came out, made it to Florida, got home, went to put my shoes on, noticed something shiny on the bottom of my boot. Turn it over, I'm like, what the... Mom? I'm talking to my chat. I was like, Mom, there's a bullet casing in the tread of my shoe. And we went through TSA with it. And my mom was just like... And, like, the TSA is just... They're the top tier of anti-terrorism task force. Like, oh my god, dude. How did they not notice that? I mean, I'm glad they didn't, because holy fuck. How did I not notice it for starters as well? I'm just beyond lucky. I imagine they wouldn't have done anything but throw it away, but it was literally a shell casing stuck in the tread of my boot, and they didn't notice it despite going through the machine. One time I left my AirPods in my pocket and they didn't notice. Damn, Emu Anon. Anyway, I don't know how we got into a whole fuck the TSA rant from this, but that is the only good thing that will come out of this, is that the TSA will be harmed by it. That's pretty based. Okay, how do you guys like that segment? I know it was shorter, but I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I think it was a good segment. "5% of 9/11s are prevented by TSA." There's a really good Key and Peele sketch about TSA. I'm pretty sure if I played it, I would get copyrighted, though. But it's really funny. It's really, really funny. You should definitely watch it if you get it. Like, next time you're about to fly, you should watch it right before you go through TSA, so you're thinking the video while you go through, and you have to keep yourself from laughing. Legit, nothing is stopping you from prison suitcasing something through TSA? There's a lot of things stopping me from doing that, to be honest, Pillow. That's like saying literally nothing is stopping you from, like, jumping off a building, and it's like, well, common sense and my will to live stop me. That's a thing. There's that. Yeah, my sphincter would be stopping me from doing that, for sure. My butt cheeks before that. Alright. Last segment. Last segment we have time for. Alright, everyone. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1. Action. I'm so sorry I've been as busy as I've been lately, and I haven't been able to keep up with all of the crazy stuff happening lately as it's happening as I normally would. One of those things that I'm apologizing for is not being able to cover the Republican debate, the second Republican primary debate live. However, it's 18 hours later, roughly. I think it's been less than a day, and CBS News has put out a highlight reel of the second primary debate, so we don't even have to watch all the dead air and like cringe ads and stuff in the meantime, because oh my god, when we had to watch that first one and they played all of the ads for buying gold and like erectile dysfunction pills, it's like, okay, we get it, you know your audience, okay, we get it, we get it, okay, so we won't have to watch any ads for gold or dick pills, thankfully, but we're gonna get some good spicy takes from these Republican dumbfucks, I'm sure. I'm actually interested to see if Ramaswamy ends up coming out of this looking as appealing to the average dumbfuck populist Republican as he did in the previous one, or if he like scuffs it up. Well, I don't think he has any chance of beating Trump, obviously, but I'm curious if he can drain more support from Trump at all, you know? Let's watch. Politics is not this dramatic, dude.
Welcome back to the Ronald Reagan Library and Museum in Simi Valley, California. I'm at O'Keefe, CBS News, inside what they call the spin room. It's going to get crowded, going to get noisy, going to get smelly in here in the coming minutes as members...
It's going to get smelly in here. I like that. I like that a lot. A lot of Republicans here. It's going to get real smelly. It's going to get real stinky in here from all these goddamn Republicans. They don't know how to use deodorant, and most of the guys think wiping their ass is gay.
of the various campaigns descend on the room and try to convince us reporters why it is they think their guy did, or their woman, did well tonight. We will be hearing from some of those representatives in the coming minutes, but the exchange tonight, the second so far of the 2024.
Hey, if you think that's bad, most of the husbands don't allow their wives to buy feminine hygiene products because they think it's gross and demonic and feminist.
Presidential campaign cycle for Republicans focused a lot on the economy, on China, on border security, on issues of education, and on the man who wasn't here.
Wait, really? Yeah, probably.
The 46th president of the United States, Donald Trump, repeatedly called out by contenders most eager to egg him on and take him on a stage like this, saying, why wasn't he here tonight? Chris Christie calling him Donald Duck. Ron DeSantis suggesting that he's not here to face the music on issues like abortion rights and government spending. We'll see.
Dude, did you guys see that Donald Trump went to a gun store to hold a Glock? And he was like, I'm pretty sure because he's actively, like, under investigation, he's not allowed to be given a gun or to even hold a gun, right? Like, wasn't that literally illegal? I love the way he held it, too. Like, he holds it like fucking... Hold on. Oh, my legs are all tied up in my blanket. He holds it like this. He's like... This is how he looked holding it. He was like, I don't know why, but he just looks like he's presenting like macaroni art to his mom, you know? It looked really weird. That's the same one, by the way. That's the same like gun that he's holding in the picture. He was holding a Glock 19 in that picture. And he's just... Yeah, it gives you some perspective on how small Trump's hands are, by the way, as well. Because that Glock looked pretty big in his hands, and the Glock 19's not that big of a pistol. It's a subcompact.
Whether the former president responds in the coming days, but already his campaign tonight is calling this a boring, somewhat inconsequential affair. We will see whether voters respond as they did to some extent after the first debate by rewarding some of those in the middle of the pack of the others with better support. And the front runner was not here. He was in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan, which is where we find Chief Election and Campaign Correspondent Robert Costa, who is working late in that time zone tonight as we are out here. Bob, give us a sense of how this went. There are some Democrats tonight at least suggesting it was a low-energy speech. How do you assess it? And ultimately, who showed up to hear from him?
Ed, it's great to be with you. Only wish I could be there in California talking politics with you, but it was intriguing to be here.
It is so funny to me they do it in California. You know, like the most like cucked state ever. Like California is so cucked and blue-pilled, I can't stand it.
Here in Michigan tonight to see former President Trump address union workers, some non-union workers.
You know, California outright banned concealed carry. Like, it's just pretty much banned. Like, functionally, concealed carry in California is just effectively banned. Can you imagine living in LA and not being able to have a gun in your waistband? I would never. I would fucking never, dude.
At a non-union facility. It was a rainy night here in the Detroit area. Trump was speaking about his own message to working voters, trying to make an overture to them as he works to consolidate his base in the Republican contest. And he also looks ahead to a possible general election rematch against President Joe Biden. And during this rainy night, there was Trump for over an hour talking about some...
I love how, like, based on Trump's shape, like the way that he's like moving his body, you can tell what vocal inflection he's doing. Like when he does that, like when he does this, you can tell he's going many, like he's doing like that thing where he makes his voice more raspy and high pitched. When he like puts his hand on the podium and like leans back a little, you can tell like what vocal inflection he's doing because he's like so telegraphed. Like he's a very you can he's very understandable as like a way of doing impressions of him, both physically and vocally, you know? Yeah, accessible. You know, I feel like you could probably lip read him pretty well.
Some of the themes that go back to his campaign in
Actually, maybe not. He does have lips that look akin to like an anal prolapse, so it is pretty hard to read them. They don't move like normal lips.
2016 and of course to his 2020.
Why are they like that? Is that just like the way he talks, or do you think it was like botched Botox or plastic surgery? From this angle, his nose looks pretty crooked. It could be like in like the 1950s or something, he got plastic surgery. I don't know.
20 re-election attempt. This was Trump going back to some of his key themes, key points on trade, on immigration, and all but ignoring the debate. And so you had this front runner in the Republican presidential race talking about his own campaign, making claims, expressing grievances, all while the rest of the field was with you there in California having its own debate. A bit of a surreal scene that was also a microcosm of where things stand in the Republican race.
Bob, let's take a listen to some of what Trump had to say to those workers there in Michigan.
Joe Biden claims to be the most pro-union president in history. Not said.
He's literally marching with the auto union workers, by the way. Like he's literally like the worker union that's striking. He's literally he literally went on the picket line with them and like marched with them. Like Joe Biden's policy would arguably like Joe Biden's policy, I would argue, has made him the most pro-worker Democrat president possibly ever. Like, Joe Biden, I did not have very high expectations for. I expected him to be like Obama light, honestly. I didn't expect him to even be as progressive as Obama was, even though Obama was obviously not that progressive, you know. I did not expect him to go above and beyond my expectations the way he has, with how arguably for the Democratic Party radical some of his policy like decisions have been. Like, he's been pretty on top of it, and his messaging has been great as well. Like, he's not perfect. He's not Bernie. He's not a socialist. He's not like passing laws that make homelessness illegal, you know, and not like illegal for the homeless, but like literally like the concept of homelessness gone. Like every homeless person would have access to housing, and it would be illegal to deny them that. I like, he's not doing that obviously, but he's going pretty above and beyond, I'd say.
Hopefully your leaders at United Auto Workers will endorse Donald Trump.
Dude, how can you get that many cheers from people who work in the automotive industry after his steel tariffs, dude? Donald Trump's fucking steel tariffs on China. And you've got automotive workers cheering? How? Because it's a cult. It's a cult. That's why. It's a cult. They don't care about reality. They don't care. Donald Trump will do things that directly harms them, and they don't care because it's a cult. They gotta clap for daddy.
Because, you know, standard history for years and decades and years and years and years, they always endorse a Democrat.
Okay, so that was a sampling of what the former president had to say. Bob, though, I know you've been in touch with operatives on all sides of this debate. You've been in touch with other donors, people watching the debate here in California tonight. Give us a sense.
I do love the fact that it's just well-known fact, just an indisputable factual like statement that 70% of what Trump says is a lie. And then you'll get like Trump supporters will say, but like every politician lies. It's not, that's not, rare or anything. Sometimes politicians have to lie to, for the greater good. And it's like Donald Trump lies by magnitudes more than the average politician. And the average politician is that's skewed by other Republicans, so it's like, overall, the Democrats, with all their flaws, tend to be honest. The dishonest Democrats are the ones that you know the names of and hate already because they're the dishonest ones. People like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema and what's his name? That other guy. That other piece of shit Democrat that's basically a Republican. I forget his name. It's just blanking for me right now. Chat, you guys know this dude. Come on. Come on. You guys know. Come on. Not Joe Manchin. I already said Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, and there's like a third one. And it's a dude, I think. I don't know. Anyway. There's a RFK, I think. Yes, thank you. I think it might be RFK. I don't know. The name's blanking for me right now. But there's like a handful of Democrats that like everybody knows. Oh, and Tulsi. Thank you. Yep, Tulsi too. But she became a Republican or an independent or whatever. But yeah, that was prior though. Like there's a group of Democrats that we all just kind of like know as being the shit ones that are basically Republicans in like blue clothing. And that's literally it. And we all hate them like dinos, Democrats in name only. And that, like, the Democratic Party overall, though, besides that small handful, is magnitudes more honest than the Republican Party could ever be. The Republican Party is fundamentally, foundationally based on lies.
Sense of their impressions, what they liked, what they're concerned about.
It was the full spectrum tonight in terms of reporting. I began the day, Ed, talking to union members from the UAW on the picket line here in Detroit and in the Detroit area. They were marching outside, holding signs, and they were saying that they were going to hold the line, as President Biden urged them to do just a day earlier. So you have all of the...
Quick aside, Apillo, if you want me to host you, you'll probably want to go live in 10 minutes, I would say. You'll want to go live because I'm going to end stream on the hour in 15 minutes. So in 10 minutes, I'd go live if I were you, and then I'll raid you about 5 minutes into your stream. Good shit.
Economic pain here in Michigan, front and center with this auto strike.
No problem.
And then
Philip.
later in the day, you have all of the political pain inside of the Republican Party, at least in the anti-Trump quarters, very visible in the flurry of text messages I was getting during this debate from donors.
I want to see the actual debate. Do they not show the clips from the debate in this? What the fuck? Why would it be called debate highlights? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Okay, well here's one. And it's only 3 minutes long. Yay! MSNBC, don't you fuck me here.
To the second Republican debate of the 2024 primary, live from the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California.
Joe Biden should not be on the picket line. He should be on the southern border working to close our southern border because it is...
Reminder, by the way, like, the vast majority of illegal immigrants in this country are overstaying work visas, so they entered the country legally but are staying here illegally. Like, a infinitesimally small amount of illegal entries to this country happen via the border. The ones that are happening are from people who are not crime affiliated and are not, like, gang or cartel affiliated, because the cartel have planes, boats, and other corruption. Guys, the cartel is basically a military at this point. The cartels, because there's several in South America, and particularly Mexico and what have you, are literally about as armed and equipped as a military. Like, they're more powerful or on, like, equal standing in terms of their, like, military power as the Mexican government and its armed forces and police. They also have so many infiltrators and so much corruption, the Mexican military, government, and police, that it's borderline impossible to handle the problem internally. But this also means that we are very privy to the knowledge that the cartel has all of the resources it needs in order to bring insane amounts of drugs such as fentanyl into this country in insane quantities without needing to, like, sneak it past the border with mules and shit like that. That's not how it's getting in. The cartel has access to tens, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of resources, okay? They've got guns, they've got planes, they've got helicopters, they've got trucks, they've got fucking boats, they've got submarines, okay? They are not using the border. Building a border wall and quote-unquote securing the border isn't the solution. We need to, if I'm being completely honest, we need to heavily invest into Mexico. We need to invest into Mexico's military, infrastructure. We need to invest in their schooling and in their economy overall. We need to start having more businesses move their operations into Mexico to create more jobs. We need to help. I don't know what we would need to do to pull this off. I won't claim that I know this bit, but we need to improve the living conditions in Mexico for the people that live there, and particularly improve wages as well, and improve access to fundamental necessary needs of life, such as electricity, running water, waste disposal services, waste treatment, etc. Obviously, these are things you have access to in a lot of Mexico, but certainly not all of it. And we need to bring Mexico a little bit more on par with America in terms of the average person's quality of life if we want to get rid of the cartel issue. People join the cartel because if you go to a city or a town in Mexico and you talk to a little kid and you ask them what they want to be when they grow up, they say they want to be a narco. They say they want to be in the cartel. They want to traffic drugs. Because that's literally the most realistic path to what you would consider success that they have. And they see, drug traffickers as local heroes in a lot of places in Mexico. And it's because in a lot of these places, they're literal villages. You would see them be like, that's not a town, that's not a city, that's not a neighborhood, that's a village. You would look at it and say that is a shanty village. And the people who live there have no other options than crime. If you raise the quality of life for the average citizen of Mexico to that of the average citizen of America, at the very least, then you'll see a lot of the cartel issues go away. And that solves a lot of issues, such as the massive amount of fentanyl and other drugs that are being pumped into our country from the southern border. And when I say the southern border, I mean from Mexico. When they say the southern border, they mean through the southern border, because they're trying to convince people that there are caravans coming across the border.
Unsafe, wide open, and insecure.
Look, I do disagree with something Tim Scott just said. Joe Biden doesn't belong on a picket line. He belongs on the...
Okay, not to mention, if you don't, if you're not affiliated with and not in support of, a cartel that it's in control of your area, then you could be dead, that's a scary thing. So there's also the fear factor that goes into it, on top of the reverence that you would naturally have when your life is the way that it is, and drug trafficking seems to be the most realistic path to success. And most of it is drug trafficking, but the drug trafficking industry entails a lot of human trafficking because they're tied in industries, and on top of that, a lot of human trafficking is used to achieve drug trafficking.
Unemployment line. As President of the United States, I'll be standing with workers all across America, and I'll be standing for the right to work of every American to join a union or not join a union as they decide.
Basically, what that means is we are anti-union. They're emphasizing the not join a union. The Republicans have always been anti-union. They love busting unions. They are anti-worker. This is no surprise. I don't even feel like most viewers of this would agree with... I'm pretty sure most people watching this are, anti-union, so I don't know why they're virtue signaling anything pro-union. I guess it's because of the recent strikes, and there's a lot of auto workers that support Republicans because they live in the Rust Belt, but
Government shuts down. Should voters blame populist Republicans?
Voters should blame everybody who's in Washington, D.C.
Where's Joe Biden? He's completely missing in action from leadership. And you know who else is missing in action? Donald Trump.
What does missing in action from leadership mean? Joe Biden that day was on the picket line making headlines for that. That's doing the president stuff. If he was golfing, I guess I'd get it. Donald Trump has done the most golfing of any president in ever. The most off days he took. Yeah. DeSantis, oh my God. DeSantis is starting to get the Homer Simpson jowls in real life. You guys see it, right? The Homer Simpson jowls, but literally in real life. He looks like those hyper-realistic renders of Homer Simpson, like if he was real, but only from the nose down.
Trump is missing in action. He should be on this stage tonight. He owes it to you to defend his record where they added $7.8 trillion to the debt.
And I want to look at that camera right now and tell you,
national debt, national debt, national debt. Be scared by the word debt. National debt. None of you know what it means. I don't know what it means. No one on the stage knows what it means, but it's a scary phrase, and so we'll just keep repeating it. National debt. Isn't that scary? Democrats make national debt go up. Debt is bad. National debt. So scary. Vote Republican.
Watching, you can't help yourself. I know you're watching, okay? And you're not here tonight, not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here.
If anything, our national debt, particularly with China, is a kind of double-edged sword good thing, if that makes sense. Like, it's a bad thing, but also a good thing. You know what I mean? China, because of our national debt towards them, and the debt is actually more of like what the debt actually is a disparity in how much money we are putting into one country or into other countries compared to how much money other countries are putting into us. It's a very massive simplification of it, but China is our number one trading partner. We are China's number one trading partner. This means we both, America and China, despite our very bizarre, political back and forth, are massively reliant on each other economically. China relies heavily on, us manufacturing a lot of our luxury goods, such as electronics, in China, in order to push forward their increasing rapid industrialization and technological advancement, and the widening of their they have a lot of people, that they need the amount of money that America's putting into them. And of course, the fact that they're investing so much money into America means they have a vested interest in America succeeding, so that investment can be brought back. That doesn't mean we have to pay them back. It's not like we have to give payments to the Chinese government. That's not how it works. It's not, yeah. A lot of it's just trade deficit, yeah. Our national debt effectively means that countries we're indebted to want us to succeed so that debt doesn't just evaporate. If America goes up and just becomes an anarchy, if we just go up in flames and become like a glass to nothing nation overnight, a lot of countries that were doing business with us in many different ways are going to be kind of screwed over. America, Jesus Christ, that's not even getting into how much America alone makes up of the global economy. Holy shit. That's a whole other conversation. America makes up, 60% of the global economy? I may be wrong. Can someone get me the exact figure? I remember it being somewhere in the 60s. Maybe it's the 50s, but it's a big fucking slice. Enough of a slice that just by looking at the pie chart, you're like, wow, if America just stopped existing, if the US dollar just stopped existing, the entire world economy would literally go up in flames. I heard 70%? That's wild. Not to mention, pretty much every currency in the world is based on the US dollar. The US dollar is the baseline for every currency in the world, right? Except for a few, obviously. There's a good dozen handfuls of countries that, their currencies aren't aligned with ours, but the US dollar is the baseline for most of the world's currencies, right? There's just so much that goes into why saying the national debt, just the American national debt, is just the biggest non-issue for politicians to be virtue signaling about in the world. That's my point, really. Also, we're going to have to wrap this entire stream up in a minute, so let's watch one more clip.
here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
You have said.
I feel like that's where we'll end it there. We'll end it there. That's all we needed. That's all we needed. That is all we needed. The Republican national debate, everybody. The Republican national primary debate. That's it right there in a nutshell. Thank you, Apillo. I hope you guys liked that segment. What'd you guys think? Nyakalos, thank you for the $5 donation, or the two $5 donations. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the $10. Said, if you're wondering why chat was talking about mustard gas, I got exposed to it yesterday and I got severely lucky. I hope you got lucky, because only a little whiff of it is enough to make you sick, and it can have delayed effects, so please go to the doctor. Like, you can't even inhale a little bit of it. It also sinks to the bottom of your lungs. It sticks and sinks, and if even a little bit gets inside of you, you've been poisoned, and it's still there. So please seek medical attention if you actually inhaled any mustard gas. I don't know what you mean by exposed, but if you think you inhaled even invisible fumes, because, like, what you see is not all of it. A lot of it's invisible, too. The thinner fumes, but they can still poison you, and, like, they stick into your respiratory system. It's very deadly. I forgot I ordered food from DoorDash, and now I'm eating a cold burger. Also, haven't been watching stream lately. Been supporting my friend who is way smaller. It's all good. You should definitely prioritize supporting smaller streamers. But thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it, Nyakalos. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the donos. I hope you end up being okay. Please seek medical help for that the chlorine gas, mustard gas. All right, guys. I'm gonna host a pillow. I'm going to wrap up stream because it is time for me to go to the shooting range. Let's freaking go! Hey, 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 let's go, let's go, let's go! Let me, thank you, Apillo. I appreciate you sending me the link. Makes my job way easier. That. There we go. Enjoy Apillo's stream, everybody. I love you all, and have a good night. I'm gonna go shoot some guns.